little over a year ago, legal authorities in New York City seized from the American billionaire, investor, philanthropist Michael Steinhardt some 180 valuable ancient relics that he had purchased over the years that are alleged to have been illegally smuggled out of their countries of origin by the sellers. Now, the U.S. has since been repatriating those artifacts back to those nations, including nearly 40 to Israel. But last Thursday, American diplomats here returned one of those looted objects to the Palestinian Authority. It was part of an ivory spoon used in religious rituals believed to have been of Assyrian origin dating back some 2,700 years. Now, it was discovered near Hebron 2 decades ago, but it's the first time the U.S. has ever handed over to the Palestinians an ancient artifact discovered in the West Bank, which raises some serious questions about archaeological ownership here in the Holy Land. Well, joining us for more is Dr. Nikolai Roddy. He is professor of Old Testament at Creighton University, and he is a former co-director of the Bethsaida excavations, I should say, here in Israel. He joins us from Omaha, Nebraska. Dr. Roddy, thanks for joining us. First of all, for those of us less well-versed in archaeology, tell us a little about this object and its importance.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. The description of the spoon, as you rightly recounted, is that it's made of ivory and decorated with an Assyrian, more specifically a Neo-Assyrian motif, which in the vicinity of Hebron would date it, in fact, to the mid to late 8th century BCE, perhaps slightly earlier. The Neo-Assyrian Empire destroyed the northern kingdom of Israel in 722 BCE and subsequently ruled over the southern kingdom of Judah for the rest of the century. The scientific question, of course, is, was it found in its original context? For it would need to have been found in situ to establish its authenticity and have any value for recovering the full material record of the region at that time.
Right. I think the germane fact here is that it was part of the Assyrian Empire. It didn't belong to the ancient kingdom of Israel or Judah. Was it right, in your view, for the U.S. for the first time to repatriate that object to the Palestinian Authority, even though there are some in Israel, of course, who claim sovereignty over that area in the West Bank?
Well, my opinion aside, there are some facts to consider. One thing is, in 1970, UNESCO implemented a convention on the means of prohibiting the illicit import and export and transfer of ownership of cultural property, which is part of that legal package internationally that I think underlies the raid on Mr. Steinhardt's apartment and all of that. And throughout the 20th century, it's just been a growing problem. The United States signed on in 1972 and has been actively investing resources in returning looted artifacts to their places of origin. Palestine, which UNESCO and its multinational partners recognize as a member state, joined in 2011. Israel, by contrast, has yet to sign on. In fact, Israel is the only country in the Mideast region that still allows antiquities dealers to legally acquire and sell antiquities. It also allows private dealers to trade among themselves in the quest for amassing the highest profit, which, needless to say, has opened the door to a robust black market in antiquities. So the fact that the artifact, that its point of origin was, in fact, in the Palestinian Authority, it makes sense to just give it back to where it would be today had it not been stolen in the first place.
Right, but could this become problematic if an object is found where it's not clear if this would be somehow connected to the Israelites or to the Canaanites? There are some Palestinians who have even laid claim to the Dead Sea Scrolls, those copies of the Hebrew Bible, because they have been found in areas of the West Bank that fall today more under Palestinian authority.
It does indeed raise lots of questions and controversy and things like that. But I think at the end of the day, and as you have already pointed out yourself, it's not a Palestinian artifact. It's not an Israeli artifact. It belongs to the cultural heritage of the entire world. And I'm convinced that whether it's in the hands of Israel or in the hands of the Palestinian Authority, it will be well preserved and well cared for. It belongs to the world, and the use of artifacts to wage, political battles and polemics really isn't something that appeals to me as an archaeologist, as a scientist.
Right. Unfortunately, of course, the reality is that often archaeology is used in the service of political or nationalist causes. But as you said, such objects maybe are better be said belonging to the world. Dr. Nikolai Roddy, thank you for joining us on I-24 News.